This week we've seen a lot of alumni from NXT make their, I guess, debut on the main roster. Nikki Cross had a match. That was a lot of fun. Otis Dozovic is creeping on Alexa Bliss, and who can really blame him? Lacey Evans, EC3, Tucker Knight are in the back already in catering, and apparently Lars Sullivan is being kept off the show as punishment for missing a show because of a panic attack, because WWE are just full of really, really great people. So, we've lost a bunch of bodies. How is NXT doing so far? We've just started January 2019. Let's talk about NXT. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your January 16th NXT review and house cleaning as usual. Now, last week we didn't have any NXT UK reviews because I was putting that time into doing the preview for NXT TakeOver, NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool, which was this past Saturday. This week, you're not getting any NXT UK reviews because, the best I can tell, there aren't any episodes of NXT UK this week. But we did have the NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool pay-per-view Pick 'em. If that's not a long enough name, I don't know what to tell you. Not very many people participated because not very many people are watching the UK brand, but I will say Strife and Mizark 10, along with myself, were having a little bit of competition Saturday afternoon. It was a lot of fun. Strife got 6 points, Mizark got 7, and I won my game for once with 12 points, so that is really, really good. The show itself was fucking fantastic. I don't know whether I'm going to do a separate video on what I thought of it. You guys know I don't really review pay-per-views on this show, but goddamn, Coffee and Dunn, just fucking fantastic. My girl, Toni Storm, what else can I say? The undercard was fantastic. The Grizzled Young Vets are the first ever NXT UK Tag Team Champions, which is great. The show just overall was great. The surprise appearance of not only Finn Balor, but at the end of the night, Walter, who I have no idea about, but already goddamn. In the realm of not NXT, if you want to go back one video or stay till the end of this video, I've popped up some information on the next Destiny Wrestling pay-per-view, which is going to be The Ritual, in February. I believe it's the 23rd. It's the amalgamation show that they're doing between Destiny Wrestling and Blackcraft down in Ohio. Among other things, John Morrison is returning to the Don Koloff, which is exciting for this guy right here. A little bit of trivia for you. The first time I was ever at the Don Koloff for a Destiny show, it was because the main event was Pete Dunne versus John Morrison for the Destiny Championship. So that is going to be a lot of fun. As I say, I believe it's the 23rd of February if you've got iPay-per-view, if you've got the Fight Network. If you're watching great folks like my buddy OKFabe, you've already got the Fight Network. It's all good. I really encourage you to check it out. As I say, more information is in my previous video, or it will be tagged at the end of this one. Now let's get into NXT January 16th. Started off with the Street Profits versus the Metro Brothers. Now, the Metro Brothers we've had before, Chris and JC, who are basically a ripoff of Deuce and Domino, but the Street Profits, I've missed the Street Profits. I've even missed their intro, because their intro is a lot of fun, and they are very high, even though they came in with a much more aggressive tone in this match. They are a fun team to watch. It's interesting, because we haven't seen them in a while, and the last big rivalry that they were in was with the Mighty, and they talked about their rivalry with the Mighty on commentary during this match, talking about getting their solo cups back and their jewelry back and all that. And they even made a slight reference to them picking up tag team gold, because I know they are the tag team champions of, I can't think of the other company's name right now, but that smaller company that works with NXT. They've got that great working relationship, and they've picked up the tag team titles there. It would be really cool if NXT let them wear those titles on the NXT show, if they have that working relationship, but I don't know whether they're going to do that. The reason I bring it up is the last, as I say, the last feud they had was with the Mighty. The Mighty are no longer a thing. Nick Miller, as we know, leaving NXT, staying home with his family. He's just had a kid, etc. Good for him. Now, Shane Thorne, we don't know what that's going to do for him. He could just be the Mighty Shane Thorne, which I think would be great, but I mean, they've already got the almighty Bobby Lashley, and who wants to be compared to Bobby Lashley? Absolutely nobody, even though for some ungodly reason he is the new Intercontinental Champion. Now, speaking of championships, because I'm all over the map tonight, I will say, anybody that saw Raw, I know Raw is a terrible show, and I know a lot of people have mixed opinions on Alexa Bliss. You guys know I love her, but that's besides the point. She actually got to announce the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, and god damn it, I love those titles. The silver on gold look of them is really, really cool. A lot of people were worried about them being female versions of the penny belts, which they are not. Thank God they got a little bit creative. On a side note, I don't mind the penny belts because they're two warriors on a plate on a championship, which symbolizes what? A team of two warriors going into battle to win said titles. So they make sense. People that hate on the penny belts, I don't know what to tell you. The women's tag belts look a hell of a lot better. I mean, as you guys have heard me say multiple times, nobody's going to touch the belts they have in NXT UK because those belts are gorgeous. Moving on, we've got the Metro Brothers, as I come back from my long diatribe, taking on the Street Profits. Like I say, the Metro Brothers are basically Deuce and Domino, but they do mention on commentary a lot, because it is something to put on a resume, that they were trained by the Dudley Boys at the 3D Academy, which is all good. Ford and Chris Metro start the match. There's a shoving match, some forearms by Chris, a dropkick by Ford, tackle by Dawkins, an assisted splash by Ford, one punch knockout by Dawkins, and a frog splash by Ford gets the win. Street Profits win. They were more aggressive than we're used to seeing them, but they are still the same fun-loving guys that we know. They got out into the fans a little bit. The crowd still loves them. It's all good. They're doing that. Whatever the chant is that they do, I don't know what they say exactly, but they are doing their typical Street Profits, you know, quickly go out and celebrate with the fans, come back to ringside, grab your chains and your solo cups and whatever. But they got jumped by the Forgotten Sons, and there's an outside of the ring 3-on-2 brawl, which is great. And that brawl is punctuated by Jackson Riker picking up Ford, who's the smallest guy in this scenario, and giving him a spine buster on the rim of the apron. Now, this is where I will say, on one hand, it looked brutal, because as I say, he's the smallest guy in the scenario. So, really, really big dude comes and slams you spine first into the edge of the apron is really, really good. But I will say as well, Kevin Owens, when he made his debut in NXT, hit that apron powerbomb on Sami Zayn, and everybody since has said, okay, let's start doing stuff with the apron. Anyways, they toss him back in the ring, choke bomb, and a lot of shit talking from the Forgotten Sons while the crowd chants "We forgot you" at them, which is I love Full Sail. I do. I love the crowd there. They get a lot of shtick for being too obnoxious sometimes, but then we go over to NXT UK where we've got the Gibson take your shoes off thing, and that's fine. I would love to chill at Full Sail for a taping, but you know, I live up here and Full Sail is down there. Matt Riddle and Keith Lee are in the back talking about Keith Lee's match with Catastrophe Dad Bod Cassius Ohno in tonight's main event. Yes, Cassius Ohno is in the main event again. Don't know why. Tell me why, because I don't know. Anyways, Matt Riddle gets asked if he's going to be in his buddy's corner tonight. Matt Riddle says he's not cleared by the doctors and he has not been allowed or permitted to be in his buddy's partner tonight. But he says, you know, please leave me a little bit left because I got some finished up work to do on him. It's a really bothersome thing, and I'm going to talk about this later on too. As much as I love seeing Cassius Ohno get the shit kicked out of him, much as I love the 7-second win at the last TakeOver, these are two guys that I'm really impressed with. Keith Lee, I didn't know before he came to NXT, and I didn't know Matt Riddle either. They were names that I heard sort of whispered in the backgrounds of conversations on social media, etc. I like both these guys. Matt Riddle is really, really entertaining, and Keith Lee is one of those Samoa Joe type guys where it's just you shouldn't be able to do the things you're doing at the size you are. And I want better things for both of these guys. And if we're going where I think we're going, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. Bianca Belair came out to the ring, which means this is my weekly iteration of, guys, I don't hate Bianca Belair, but her gimmick is fucking terrible. And unfortunately, it seeped into her promo tonight. Bianca Belair's fantastic in the ring. The match that she's going to have with Shayna Baszler 2 Saturdays from now, is it? At TakeOver Phoenix. Insert Spaz Phoenix joke here. Is going to be great. It's going to be something a little different. I really, really, really wish Nikki Cross had a title shot before she got moved up to the main roster and was teaming with Bayley on her debut, because why not? Anyways, tangent. Let's get back to this. Bianca Belair cutting a promo was sort of based on her gimmick, which I don't like. She says, everybody's tried to stop my rise. Literally nobody has stopped your rise because everybody has had to lay down for you. Which is wrong. She says, I sent Nikki Cross packing, which is a lol what type of scenario. Nikki Cross was having, you know, no holds barred matches with Asuka in Asuka's NXT heyday. You did not send her anywhere. Moving on. She mocks the Four Horsemen, talks about being undefeated, which is, it's just not a thing, is it? But Baszler comes out with Duke and Shafir on either side of her. Duke and Shafir don't do anything the entire time. She mocks the EST nickname, like I always do, the STD of NXT. She says, you know, I've seen all the little, like, tiny little records you've broken in the Performance Center. You're the fastest, you're the strongest, but you're obviously not the smartest, because no matter how strong those arms are, I will break them off and beat you with them. Belair sort of comes back with some blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna win on Sunday because undefeated, whatever. Baszler, who's really stepped up her game on the mic, I gotta say, has said, you're just like everybody else in that locker room. You know, you're gonna tell me about taking my title. You're gonna tell me what you're gonna do to me at the paper. Why don't you just step up and fight me now? Because you're afraid. You're afraid to lose your arms. You're afraid I'm gonna silence your hype. And you're afraid that I'm gonna take you from undefeated to overrated. And then the crowd, as if they just know that they've been taught something by Shayna Baszler, starts chanting overrated at her, which is great. Now, yes, there was the banter back of some people chanting undisputed because that's just what they do, but the overrated chants made me smile a whole bunch. She says, and she looks back at her friends, basically, you know, are you looking at my friends? You don't need to worry about them. It's me you got to worry about at TakeOver, and I'm going to kick the shit out of you, pretty much. And Bianca Belair, who's supposed to be the babyface in the situation, slaps her in the face and bails. I don't know. I don't know what this was supposed to do for Bianca Belair. I really don't. As I say, looking forward to the match. The match is going to be great. I want cool things for Bianca Belair. Get rid of the hair whip. It's dumb. Get rid of her gimmick. It's dumb. Get rid of the clapback shit that she does. It's dumb. And if she's going to go out there for a long and prolonged promo, yes, this is coming from me. This is coming from a big Miz fan. Don't just go out there and be a catchphrase machine, because it doesn't work if you haven't, like, I'm going to use The Miz as an example. Miz has been in WWE for like 10 fucking years now. He wants to go out there and be a cliche machine. He wants to say, you know, welcome to the most must-see show on TV today. Welcome to, and then everybody's going to shout Miz TV because it's established. You want to go out there and do undefeated, and like 12 people in the second row are going to go along with it. Sure, your opponent said overrated one time and chanted at you in unison, because it just doesn't work. Your gimmick is shit. The hair thing is shit. Concentrate on the ring, because in the ring you're fucking fantastic. I'm looking forward to this match. I don't need any of the bullshit that's going to get us there, other than Shayna Baszler coming out, putting everybody to shame, because nobody rates her on the mic, and I think she's better than you give her credit for. It's another one of those. I will say she's not the best, by far, but she's better than people give her credit for, and she's got Shafir and Duke in her corner, and with the way things are going with Ronda Rousey on the main roster, the way she's fought Charlotte, she's going to fight Becky at some point. She's fighting Sasha at the Royal Rumble, and I think she's going to face Bayley at Fastlane. Call me a crazy person, but I think it's just going to happen. So the way that could potentially ramp up, those the other three UFC horsewomen could be doing bigger and better things shortly. So Bianca Belair, I hate to say it like this, use up their spotlight while you can. Dominic Dijakovic came in and kicked the shit out of some guy, and his finisher is sort of an inverted AA into a knee lift that is called the Feast Your Eyes. Dijakovic is one of the most unnecessarily convoluted renamings of a talent ever. Isn't he just Donovan Dijak on the indies? You could be... I don't even know. I was going to say you could do something with that name, but why didn't you just leave it as well? I think the first time he came in, didn't they just change the Donovan to Chris, and he was Chris Dijak? Like, that's an easy name to digest. Dominic Dijakovic doesn't need to be a thing. The guy's impressive as hell. Obviously, the other guy that was in the ring with him, whose name I didn't catch, but for what was essentially the NXT version of a squash match, the other guy in the ring with him was pretty damn decent too. But the Dijakovic, it's unnecessary, isn't it? It just is. We see a video package leading towards the Undisputed Era War Raiders match at TakeOver Phoenix, and it's this weird sort of Viking tribute / sacrifice type thing. They've got the Undisputed Era branded chairs sitting in a big bonfire, and they've got the big torches, and they're talking about, you know, showing respect to the Undisputed Era before they destroy them. All I could think of during this whole thing is the Viking element to it, and all the pictures we've seen of the Raymond Rowe Sarah Logan wedding. And I can't help but think that if the timing had been a bit different, Sarah Logan being part of their act rather than coming up to the main roster might have been a better option, seeing as the way people seem to view the Riot Squad, which I don't understand, because Ruby Riot's great, and the girls she's got with her, Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan, they're okay in their roles. They don't deserve half the shtick they get, in my personal opinion, but that is a really, really big divergence. Undisputed Era versus the War Raiders is sort of... It's a match coming up at TakeOver Phoenix that I don't think is getting a lot of attention, but it'll be good. You got the technical guys, you got the big power guys, people are behind the War Raiders, they've got a really fun, easy to get behind gimmick, and the Undisputed Era are established as hell. So that match... Not that it needed any further promotion, but this was an interesting sort of out-of-the-box way to promote it, because, you know, Undisputed Era, they have their template way of cutting their promos, where they sit sort of in that little framework thing backstage, and no matter who's fighting, the four of them cut a promo about that match. Now, it still blows my mind that Bobby Fish and Adam Cole are not involved in a match at all at TakeOver. I mean, Adam Cole specifically. Bobby Fish, it looked like they were going to have him have a mini feud with EC3, but EC3 is on the main roster posing in front of a mirror outside Vince's office. Why is my phone ringing? Why is that a thing? So he's doing weird poses outside Vince's office trying to get a job, and Bobby Fish came back from injury and nothing else came of it. But Adam Cole should be doing something at TakeOver. We all know that they're sort of leading towards that Gargano Ricochet match for the I really can't think tonight. The North American title. Now, if you throw Adam Cole into that match as well, that could be a hell of a triple threat match. And to back up what I said last week, that match could main event the show. No offense to Ciampa and Black. They also had a really nice video package about NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool, which goes over everything that I said at the beginning of the video, how great the thing was, and all that. There's not really much else to go on. Go back and watch. I mean, it goes without saying, but I'm going to say go back and watch it if you haven't watched it. That's about it. Gargano takes on Umberto Carrillo in what I thought was going to be a squash match, and ended up being probably one of the best matches of 2019, even though we're only like 2 weeks in. Now, I know we had Almas oh, sorry, he's not Almas anymore. He's just Andrade, because that's what happens on the main roster. We had Andrade taking on Rey Mysterio on SmackDown, and that was a career-making match for Andrade. That head scissor that he took to the floor was absolutely ridiculous. But I think this match is NXT's version of that. It was short, and Umberto Carrillo isn't doing very much on NXT, so as I say, Gargano being who he is, you expect this to be a squash, but it's really, really not. I love Gargano making his entrance, because although he's this sort of troubled, introspective, selfish, it's going to be all about me this year guy, he's still in his own mind thinks he's the hero of his own story, as all heels should. So the fact that he comes out with his music that's still like happy and kind of inspiring, the Rebel Heart song, I don't know who does. I don't know whether CFOs did it or whether they got somebody else to do it. But he comes down and he's booting and bopping down to the ring, singing his own entrance music, which that killed me. I paused my TV and I laughed. Yes, in Canada, it's an actual TV channel. I don't watch it on my computer. It is a thing. I paused it and I laughed a whole bunch. But Umberto Carrillo comes out to be his opponent, and I'm thinking, what most of you, I think, were thinking, okay, this is going to be a nice little showing. There's going to be a squash, or there could be some story told between Gargano and Ricochet, but that doesn't happen. We just got a really fucking good match, and a great showing, I will say before I get into the details, a great showing by Umberto Carrillo. And somebody of his particular descent, please tell me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, because I don't want to be a dick, despite what you may have heard. you know, Richard and Shannon, I'm looking at you. Collar double tap and a single leg ankle lock takedown by Gargano. They trade wrist locks and a takedown by Carrillo. Fake out Instagram by Carrillo and a springboard arm drag. A boot by Carrillo, but a slingshot spear by Gargano. I love the slingshot spear by Gargano, and that's why, right there, because I'm obnoxious, it's in big capital letters on the Doomy clipboard of doom. That's how that goes. Drop kick to the back of the head by Gargano, followed by an abdominal stretch. Right hand boot, corner beatdown by Carrillo. Handspring, back elbow, and a, wow, I can't read my own writing, twisting suicide dive by Carrillo to the outside. Top rope drop kick by Carrillo and a standing moonsault, but from Gargano we get double boot, super kick, lawn dart, slingshot DDT, and a win for Gargano. And then he grabs the mic, or sorry, he doesn't grab the mic, but he takes up the whole camera with his face, calling out Ricochet, calling out the champion that he wants. Sorry, the holder of the championship that he wants at TakeOver. We hear later on down the line that they're both going to be there next week. Ciampa responds to Aleister Black, who earlier in the night said, hey, you know, this is coming, Phoenix is getting closer, why don't we start the match next week? Why don't we start the fight next week? We could get started before TakeOver even gets here. Ciampa basically responds with, you are the ultimate puppet, I am a prize fighter, something you know nothing about, and I only fight, you know, basically that old cliche of I only fight when the lights are on bright, which is great. It's one of those, you know, bait and switch. Aleister Black says, I want to fight. Ciampa says, no. And that's how that goes. Keith Lee versus Kassius Ohno, because Kassius Ohno definitely belongs in the main event. God damn. I would have loved to switch the Gargano and Carrillo match with this match, honestly, because that could have been the main event. But Keith Lee versus Ohno, bask in his glory, gets shouted by the crowd through most of this match. Headlock by Ohno, slam by Lee, and a deadlift gut-wrench suplex, running crossbody by Lee, which is terrifying, forearm and some body shots. Back body drop by Lee, boot by Ohno, and some chops. Running senton by Ohno, and Ohno rides a face lock for a long-ass time. Lee manages to block the second senton attempt, hits him with right hands and some body shots. Corner splash by Lee. Boot across, or sorry, a Beal across the ring by Lee. Slingshot crossbody by Lee, which again is not only terrifying but kind of makes me laugh at the same time, because every time he does one of those high-flying or high-intensity maneuvers, he's got this weirdly bizarre smile on his face as he does it. Double chop by Lee in the pounce, but the ref gets knocked down. There's a low blow. There's a bullshit win by Kassius Ohno, and Riddle comes out and he wants a piece of Ohno as we end the show. Now, I say once again, and it goes for Keith Lee as much as it goes for Matt Riddle, one of these guys is going to have a match with Kassius Ohno at TakeOver. First of all, I don't want Kassius Ohno on my TakeOver because I don't care about Kassius Ohno. He's not pay-per-view worthy, and he's definitely not NXT TakeOver worthy, in my humble opinion. Yes, he knows a lot about wrestling. Yes, he's a wrestling journeyman. He has a lot to contribute to the other talent there. I get that. I respect that to a certain degree. I don't want to see him on my TV. It's the John Cena comparison. John Cena's a great guy. He looks like he's at the point in his career where he's having a lot of fun. He does a lot of charity. I could probably sit down and have a beer with him, even though he'd be having a beer and I'd be having a Smirnoff. But I don't necessarily want to see him on my TV. Kassius Ohno, I definitely don't want to see on my TV. Let him contribute in the backstage area. Let him be a trainer in the PC. Let him be a mentor to other future stars going forward. All that is great. All that is great, and my hat's off to him. In all sincerity, but I just don't want to see him on my TV. That's just my take. Especially when you look at the rest of the card, where you got Ciampa taking on Black, Baszler taking on Belair, the Raiders taking on Undisputed Era, Ricochet probably taking on Gargano. I say throw Adam Cole into the mix as well, baby, but I don't think it's happening. I don't want the fifth match in that NXT TakeOver 5-match template to be either of these guys being stuck facing Kassius Ohno. I just don't. And that's a real down note for me to end this review on. There was a lot of cool shit here. The Street Profits are back. They're going to go into a new feud with the Forgotten Sons. That's going to be cool. Belair versus Baszler, for as much as I moan about Belair's gimmick, is going to be a good match, and it's cool to see what we get from them going forward. I'm gonna be interested to see who the next challenger is. Who's going to get that women's title opportunity as we go into WrestleMania? Who's going to be the champion that challenger has to face, etc., etc., etc. I want to see the build between Ricochet and Gargano. I want to see if Umberto Carrillo can build on this match tonight and become something. I know there's another fellow that he tag teams with. That could also be a thing. Yeah, and in the era of, you know, everybody flipping their absolute shit about AEW, there's NXT UK, there's NXT, and if you want my own personal opinion, there's Destiny Wrestling that are also offering you some very, very viable options. This has been a very decent, if not a very weird show. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.
Like me, don't apologize. They can't hold you down. You were born to rise. It's our time now to come out. If you're a freak like me.
What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and I'm here to tell you about another cool show you should check out in February, especially if you got the Fight TV app. Now, you guys remember I was talking to you a while ago about Destiny Wrestling's first ever pay-per-view on Fight. It was called Fearless. I was there. I was in the front row. Apparently, a lot of people saw me. I'm in the top left-hand corner of your screen for virtually the whole show if you watch that on Fight. Their second show is February 23rd, and it's actually in coordination with Blackcraft Wrestling from down in the States. I believe they're from Iowa. I don't know a whole lot about them, but it is a joint show. It is called The Ritual because Blackcraft and such and such. Didn't have much to tell you guys until now. They put out sort of the first couple of ads, the first couple of announcements, the first couple of people that are involved in the show. There's no matches announced just yet, but I will say Stone Rockwell's going to be there, OVE are going to be there, Michael Elgin is going to be there. Simon Grimm, aka Simon Gotch from WWE, is making his Destiny and his Blackcraft debut. PJ Black, most of you guys know as Justin Gabriel, former Destiny World Champion and WWE star, is going to be there. Josh Alexander is going to be there. Now, that's an interesting story because Josh Alexander right now is the interim Destiny World Champion because he's going to have the sort of like the amalgamation match with Pete Dunne. Unfortunately, it's not going to be televised, but it's going to be at Carnage this coming Sunday. That's a show I'm going to be at, and I will update you guys accordingly as to who becomes the undisputed Destiny champion. I have a pretty good idea, but so yeah, a little bonus for me. I get to see the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne taking on the Walking Weapon Josh Alexander for that championship, but he's going to be at the show, as well as the Blackcraft Wrestling champion, which is Johnny Blackcraft, aka Johnny Impact, aka Johnny Nitro, aka John Morrison, etc. But yeah, that's what I know so far. Stone Rockwell, OVE, Michael Elgin, Simon Grimm, PJ Black, Josh Alexander, Johnny Blackcraft. When I have more matches announced, I will let you guys know. But check it out. If you're in the Toronto, Mississauga area, it's at the Don Kolov Arena in Mississauga. If you're not in this immediate area, please download the Fight TV app. If you're watching great guys like OKFabe on the Fight app, it's the same app. Check it out. Saturday, February 23rd. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to come up and tell you guys more as soon as I hear it. But till then, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all of these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.